Hello, friends. Now I will welcome you to the second lecture of Unit 1 of Banking and Financial Services subject. In our previous class, we have already discussed the meaning of a bank and the different types of the bank. Now I would like to discuss with you the Reserve Bank of India, functions of Reserve Bank of India, and credit control system of Reserve Bank of India. As all of you know, the importance of Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India is a banker's bank, and it is the bank which controls the full banking activity in the country. It is also called as the Central Bank of India. Let us discuss the Reserve Bank of India, how it is, when it is established, and how it came into existence. The Reserve Bank of India is India's central bank. Every country has a central bank. It is most essential because banking activity needs to be controlled centrally because the flow of funds is creating a turmoil if it flows more than the requirement, and dearth of the supply may sometimes create economic hunch. Therefore, every country tries to control the money flow through a central banking units. That is how in India the Central Bank of India is called as Reserve Bank of India because it reserves the resources and rights of controlling the financial flow. The Reserve Bank of India is responsible for the issue and supply of the Indian rupee and the regulation of the Indian banking system. It also manages the India's main payment system and works to promote its economic development. The Reserve Bank of India was established on 1st April 1935 in accordance with the provisions of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. During the British time, the controlling of activities was done by the British banks uh, established in England. But unfortunately, these England banks operating in India could not be able to perfectly concentrate. Therefore, the idea came to Britishers in the year 1920, and they established a committee called Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee took a decision of establishing one best reserve bank in the country, and accordingly, the act was passed in 1934. So, in 1st April 1935, the Reserve Bank of India got established. The central office of the Reserve Bank was initially established in Kolkata but was permanently moved to Mumbai in 1937. The central office is where the governor sits and where the policies are framed. So that's why Mumbai is taken as the central base, and the Reserve Bank of India's head office is established in Mumbai. Though originally privately owned since nationalization in 1949, the Reserve Bank of India is fully owned by the Government of India after 1949. Till 1949, the government was having an indirect control on the Reserve Bank of India. It was the investment was made by the private people, that is the capitalist people um earlier. But when the nationalization happened in the 1949, Banking Regulation Act was passed in 1949. Reserve Bank of India became the supreme, and the whole investment is made by the government of India in the Reserve Bank of India's treasure. So Reserve Bank of India played a various roles in the economic development of the country. As you know, in the year 1950, when Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister, the 5-year planning was established, and the first 5-year plan was implemented, and agriculture was given the main focus for the development in the country. The Reserve Bank of India was requested to provide the financial support for the agricultural development and control the agricultural atmosphere. Therefore, Reserve Bank of India played a pivotal role in organizing the funds from the various banking system, various banks operating in the country, and channelized for the growth of the agricultural development. In the year 1940, in the year 1960, when the top commercial banks were nationalized under the leadership of Indira Gandhi, the Reserve Bank of India became the top priority in uh, banking industry, and it has converted the private banks were converted into government banks. That is what nationalized banks. The top 14 commercial banks came under the direct control of the Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India started operating and implementing the rules and regulations in the control. And again in 1980s, you might have seen that six top commercial banks got nationalized, and the Reserve Bank of India became the supreme again, having more than 21 nationalized banks directly under the control of Reserve Bank of India. Though the non-nationalized banks are operating, they are not away from the Reserve Bank of India's control, because Reserve Bank of India is the supreme bank, bankers bank, and controlling unit in the country. In the year 2000, when the Foreign Exchange Management Act is implemented, the foreign currency activities all came directly under the control of Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is also responsible for the inflow of the foreign funds in the country in the form of foreign direct investments or in the institutional investment way. Unless and until the Reserve Bank of India permits the flow of the funds in the country, no foreign fund will come inside. And accordingly, any outflow, the funds flows from our country to foreign country, Reserve Bank of India has to approve for the exchange of the currency and all that. So Reserve Bank of India plays a very pivotal role in the development of the financial system in the country. If you focus on the functions of the Reserve Bank of India, the functions of the Reserve Bank of India are classified basically into two, that is monetary functions and the non-monetary functions. The monetary function includes basically uh, five important activities. One is issue of currency note. Second one is banker to the government. Third one is banker to the banks, called as bankers bank. Fourth one is manager of foreign exchange, and the fifth one is controller of credit. And the non-monetary activities are collecting the and publishing the financial data, then regulation and supervision on the banks, development and promotions in the country, development and promotions in the country. Let us discuss each one a little bit. Because of the time paucity, we may not be able to go in detail, but I can focus you specifically on the highlighting on these functions. You can read the books and go through inside and prepare for the exam. The first one is issue of currency note. As all of you know, that currency notes are issued by the Reserve Bank of India. Why a currency note has to be issued only by Reserve Bank of India? Why not all the banks are involved in the issue of currency notes? As you know that if the currency notes are printed without any control, the supply of money will increase and money will lose its value basically. So the Reserve Bank of India is only given the authority to issue the currency note. There are two important institutions are involved in the issue of currency note. One is the Ministry of Finance, and the second one is the Reserve Bank of India. As you know that Ministry of Finance is issuing only the coins till to the value of one rupee, from that is 10 paise till 1 rupee. All the coins are being issued by the finance financial Minister of Finance. But Minister of Finance should also take the permission of the Reserve Bank of India and mint these coins. But the Reserve Bank of India is authorized to issue the currency notes above the value of rupees 1, and all the highest denominations are being issued by the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India will issue the currency note against the values, reserves of the values. Suppose, for example, if 200 crores rupees currency has to be issued, the Reserve Bank of India is keeping a reserve of gold to the extent of 115 crores, and the remaining value of 85 crores will be made by the support by the central government in the form of collateral securities, assets of the central government. When these kind of reserves are kept only, the currency note has a value. Without having any base, if the currency notes are issued, the currency notes will not be having any value. You may be knowing that today's currency notes which are circulating in our hands, maybe a rupee, 100 rupees, 50 rupees, 10 rupees, 5 rupees, is just a representation of the value. It is not the money, but it is a representation of the value. The currency note's value is deposited in the Reserve Bank of India and it is given as a representation of a value in the form of currency notes. When you are exchanging a currency note, the person who receives the currency note will have a belief and faith on the money, saying and understanding that Reserve Bank of India has the value of its, and therefore he gives a value to the piece of the paper called currency note. In the foreign exchange also, your currencies are converted to the foreign currencies only on the faith that your currency has a backup. So this kind of a security for the currency notes is provided by the Reserve Bank of India. Therefore, issue of currency note is the whole responsibility of the Reserve Bank of India. Second point is banker to the government. How Reserve Bank of India acts as a banker to the government. Whenever the government needs the funds for the development of the country's requirements or any kinds of developmental policies, the Reserve Bank of India supplies the funds. How does the Reserve Bank of India supplies the funds? You may be knowing that the Reserve Bank of India is a mobilizer of values. It collects the deposits from the banks, from all the banks, State Bank of India, all the banks will keep certain portion of funds with the Reserve Bank of India. This money will be collected and accumulated and issued to the government. If at all government comes with any huge funds where the uh, Reserve Bank of India is not having a sufficient deposits, in such cases Reserve Bank of India will issue the debt bonds on behalf of the government and issues it to the public and to the bankers where the investment has to be made little compulsory to the banks. So in such cases, bonds are bought by the government banks and the funds are generated in the hands of the Reserve Bank of India and that money will be provided to the government for the development activities. Like that, banker to the government and any kinds of foreign representation has to be made for a financial delegations and all that. Reserve Bank of India represents the government and participates in the foreign discussions relating to financial aspects. For example, if foreign direct investment policy has to be framed out and the tariffs are provided to the foreign investors and all that, it is the Reserve Bank of India which represents the government along with the financial ministry and gives the guidance to the government how these funds are to be managed. Therefore, it is the banker to the government. Banker's bank, again, another function is it acts like a banker's bank. Banker's bank in the sense the Reserve Bank of India having the resources in its hand in the form of the deposits, in the form of the collection of the funds from the government, because government will also keep the deposits with the Reserve Bank of India and all the banks have to keep the deposits with them. It opens the accounts for the banks where it keeps certain reserves and funds in its control. And whenever the banks needs the withdrawal, whenever the banks wants to keep the deposits, banker will collect those. Reserve Bank of India will act like a banker's bank. As you know, the bank functions. Bank takes the deposits and provides the loans and advances. Like that, Reserve Bank of India acts like a banker to the banker. No public individual can keep the deposit in Reserve Bank of India. Even if it is a bank, it is just like a non-banking financial institution because it does not provide the financial support or banking activities to any individual. But it provides the banking support and activities only to the institutional banks, where institutional banks can keep the deposits and ask for the loans and advances. So banker, Reserve Bank of India is acting like a banker's bank. And in terms of any turmoils happening with any of the banks due to bank scams and all that, the deposit holders are provided the security by the Reserve Bank of India. That's a very important one. Because the minimum reserve system which the government keeps with the Reserve Bank of India, That is the base, like an insurance for the deposit holders. That minimum reserves will be given to the uh, deposit holders when the bank gets bankrupt, goes into losses. So this is how the banker, this Reserve Bank of India, is protecting the interest of the investors. That is why investors will have a faith on any of the nationalized banks or banks which are coming under the control of Reserve Bank of India, because the loss happening to the deposit holders will be very minimal. The fourth one is manager of foreign exchange activities. What is this manager of foreign exchange activities? Foreign exchange, you may be knowing, the currency notes are converted into foreign currencies when export and import has to happen. Whenever exchange, import and export has to happen, you may be knowing that goods which are imported from America needs to be paid in the terms of dollars to the supplier of the to the seller of the goods staying in America. You cannot pay them in terms of Indian rupee. And whenever you export goods to USA, as a seller, you are expecting the funds to be paid in the form of rupee, not in the form of a dollar. So at every point of time, whenever the trade happens between the countries, either individually or institutionally, the funds are to be exchanged against the currencies. For example, dollar has to be converted into rupee when the payment has to be made to Indian supplier, and vice versa. That is when the rupee has to be converted to the dollar for the payment to the foreigners. So in such cases, the currency conversion will be made through this exchange of the currency is managed to Reserve Bank of India through exchange banks, and it will calculate the exact value of the currency of that particular date depending on the demand and supply. You may be understanding how the currency notes values. The currency values are decided. It is decided based on the balance of trade and based on the balance of payment. So therefore, it is a detailed discussion that we will do it in the subsequent classes, or read it well and understand how these currency values are impacted. What is balance of trade? What is the balance of payment? So any invisible activities happening around which are also impacting other than the trade activities like export and import are also included in the balance of payment. An example, a foreign traveler comes to India for a tourism activity, then he is demanding the currencies of India and comes inside. This is not a trade activity. This is other than trade activity. Any trade plus other than trade activities are involved called as a balance of payment, because at the end of the particular financial year, we will understand how much money is highly involved in our country from the foreign currencies and how much that we are supposed to pay to them. So balance will be calculated. The for currency outflow, currency inflow, and the total trade value is estimated, and the reports are prepared by the Reserve Bank of India because it has the centralized information in its hands because it operates directly in the foreign exchange. If it finds that a balance of payment is disturbing, is going too much negative, then it will request the government to impose certain policies where the foreign exchange is demotivated, where the currency outflow or inflow will be taken care of. That is how the manager of the foreign exchange. The last one is a financial, a monetary function is a controller of credit. You know that credit, what is the banks are issuing in the form of loans and advances to the people, is creating a certain kinds of risks and creating certain kind of a benefit in the society, in the economic system of the country. The loans and advances which are issued, sometimes more issued, will lead to more flow of funds in the hands of the people. The bankers, for example, any bank, for example, Syndicate Bank or State Bank, wants to increase its business by providing a huge amount of loans and advances. When the deposit collection is more, it is trying to provide the loans and advances. When the loans and advances are provided, it is going to create the flow of money in a higher way. So, when a rupee is deposited in the bank and the same rupee is given as a loans and advances, the value of the money will be getting doubled because people, deposit holders, have a faith on the bank that they have money in the bank, and the same money is given as a loans and advances to the people, and the people who receive the finance from the bank in the form of a loan will have a power to spend it again. So like that money will go on getting higher values when it goes into circulation. When it goes into circulation to a higher level, the flow of the funds increases, the demand for the goods and services will increase, and if the supply is less to that particular product, then automatically the inflation will come into picture. On the other hand, if the flow of the funds is less, right? If the deposit holders are keeping less deposits and the banks are not giving the loans and advances, or the interest is very high, then the flow of the money is less. And even if there is a supply of the goods, the people ability to demand will be less, then automatically price will collapse. This leads to deflation. So control of credit is the most essential part when it comes to the inflation and deflation. Both are the severe diseases in the economic system. Therefore, Reserve Bank of India plays a very important role in the controlling of credit activities. We will discuss the tools of controlling the credit activities in next slide. Let us go to the non-monetary functions which the Reserve Bank of India does. Is a collection and publishing of the data. As you know, for most of the financial researches happening in the country, and for most of the financial decisions that are to be taken by any corporate houses, needs to understand certain kind of situations, certain kind of positions in the country. So it needs a data, and that too authentic data, that too reliable data. So this reliable data is generated by the Reserve Bank of India out of its activities. Like for example, if I wanted a finance information relating to the per capita income of the population in the country. Suppose I am a foreign investor in India and I wanted to know what is the per capita income. Are the people of India affordable to buy these products at these rates? What is the per capita income? So the per capita income information is available with the Reserve Bank of India. It compiles, calculates, and publishes the data in authentic data. Suppose if I want to know the growth of the country as a ministry or as a corporate house, what is the growth of the country this several years? So the gross domestic product information is available with the Reserve Bank of India because the GDP growth, if you observe, you will come to know this. The financial inflow, like the currency inflow from the foreign countries, currency outflow from our country to foreign countries, so index price indexes and all that, these all kind of data is published by the Reserve Bank of India. It has a lot of publications annually, quarterly, monthly, daily. Such kind of informations are gathered and produced. So this is a non-financial service but most essential service that Reserve Bank of India is providing to the population of the country. Regulatory and supervisory function, that Reserve Bank of India is not only issuing currency notes and all that. The non-monetary important benefit is a regulator and supervisor of the banks. It controls the Reserve Bank or the financial houses, the non-financial banking houses and all that through its uh, regulations, compulsions and all that. See, the stock market operations, the flow of funds, and all these things are indirectly controlled by the Reserve Bank of India because they have to take the permission of the Reserve Bank of India for any of these kinds of activities. Suppose any bank wants to establish any new branch or develop its business or diversify its business activities from banking to non-banking, it has to get the permission from the Reserve Bank of India for all this. And Reserve Bank of India will have its own regulatory bodies, regulatory committees, through which they take a decision of providing the growth facilities and controlling facility or activities of the financial houses. Apart from this, the Reserve Bank of India also controls the flow of the currency notes and all that to its credit control systems and all that. So it is totally a regulatory and supervising authority in the country. And Development and promotion of the economic system is also the sole responsibility of the Reserve Bank of India, because the Reserve Bank of India gives guidance to the central bank and to the central government and state governments and to the statutory bodies how the financial activities have to be controlled. Especially the finance ministry is directly under the supervision of the Reserve Bank of India, because the Reserve Bank of India acts as an autonomous body in controlling the activities of the government. Though the government works on the democratic fronts, but Reserve Bank of India controls, because Reserve Bank of India works under the control of the government, and government works under the control of the Reserve Bank of India. So they are interdependency for any development. Therefore, the financial system in the country is well healthily maintained. So this is what these are all the various types of functions of the Reserve Bank of India. Now let us see what are the credit control systems of Reserve Bank of India. As I already discussed, the flow of credit is a very important aspect which needs to be controlled. Sometimes what happens is the flow of control credit may be too high, which is not healthy for the society. Sometimes the flow of the current credit is very low. So Reserve Bank of India indirectly controls this. If the credit flow needs to be higher, it motivates the banks to automatically to provide more funds in the form of loans and advances. On the other hand, if it finds that the credit is increasing beyond the levels and leads to certain sometimes the inflation in the country, then it controls those activities also. How does the Reserve Bank of India play an important role in controlling the credit system in the country? There are two important tools that are being used by the Reserve Bank of India for controlling the credit. One is quantitative credit control method, and second one is a qualitative credit control method. Quantitative refers to a targeted way directly controlling the activity. Qualitative is an indirect way of demotivating or motivating the flow of credit in the country. The first one, the quantitative credit control method, where comes the bank rate. As you know, the bank rate is decided by the Reserve Bank of India. How do the flow of loans and advances increase in the hands of the banks which are coming under the control of Reserve Bank of India? You know that more deposits when they come to a bank, right? If the people public invest more in the form of deposits with the bank, the banking institution's ability to lend money will increase. And on the other hand, when the loans advances are to be given, the demand should be more. And when the more deposits are collected, the bankers will make an arrangement to supply the credit more. In both the cases, the bank is charging interest. It charges interest on the deposits. It also charges interest on the loans and advances. You know the simple way, any bank which earns the profit is the difference between the charges made on the deposits and on the interest. If the bank gets the deposits at 5%, 10% rate of interest and issues it at a 15% rate of interest as the form of credit of the same money what the deposit it collects, 5% is the profit of the Reserve Bank of the any financial bank, any bank or financial institution. So now the rates of interest is decided by the Reserve Bank of India. No bank is having a authority of its own to decide the interest rates. For example, deposit interest rate is guidelines are given by Reserve Bank of India, and the loans and advances interest rate is also guidelines are given by the Reserve Bank of India. Every bank, whether it is a commercial bank or whether it is any kinds of bank, has to follow compulsory strict rules and regulations of Reserve Bank of India. As you know that if infrastructure and housing facility has to increase in the country, and it is the policy of the central government, Reserve Bank of India helps for this policy by reducing the home loans and housing loans and reducing the procedures for it. So automatically, the people who want to construct a house will get a loan from any bank at a very cheaper rates. And because of this, lot of housing facilities, infrastructure requirement will start. When the house has to be constructed, there should be more demand for supply of cement. In cement, more requirement of labor. So it provides growth in the country by motivating the industries to produce more cement, employment opportunities for the workers and all that. This is how the Reserve Bank of India helps the government for its policy. And on the other hand, if you find that there is a more what you call as cement production beyond the level of the what you call as economic system, or it is affecting the nature and all that, it can restrict it by increasing the interest rates on that, demotivating it. This is how the bank rate is working. On the other hand, open market operations. What is the open market operation? Second point. Open market operation in the sense the financial abilities of the banks is reduced by motivating the finance bankers to invest money with the reserve bank funds, with the reserve bank investment options. An example, if the bankers are having a more funds with them and they start providing a more finance to the loans to the public and leads to more credit supply, the bank may not be able to restrict the bank rate more than particular limit as per the directions of the central government. In such cases, Reserve Bank of India come out with an investment policy where it issues the government bonds or debt bonds compulsory to be bought by the bankers. When the banks buy these kinds of bonds and all that, the financial strength will reduce because the investment will go in the form of the bonds, and openly the market operations, the bonds are sold in the market and the financial institutions will invest and their funds will be locked in the form of the investments, and automatically credit providing ability will come down. On the other hand, if at all credit supply has to be increased, the investments which are made by the bankers earlier will be reduced and the bonds are rebought and finance is provided to the bankers. Like that, this is how the open market operation happens. The open market operation is pertaining to the investments made by the financial institutions with the Reserve Bank of India and liquidating the investments from the Reserve Bank of India to the financial institutions. So this is how the open market operation happens. Sometimes if the government plans are requiring more funds and all that, Reserve Bank of India may compulsorily issue the compulsory bonds to the nationalized banks. In such cases, nationalized banks have to compulsorily invest money in that. So they will be getting the reward for the investments. All that financial institutions which invest in the deposits of the Reserve Bank of India will get the interest. In such cases, the loan provision will be automatically reduced because there is no fund with the commercial banks to issue the. So the last one is a reserve ratio. What is the reserve ratio? Reserve ratio means the every bank has to maintain some important reserves with the Reserve Bank of India, called as statutory liquidity ratio, and it is the ratio which every bank has to invest money with the bankers based on the any amount of profit they get. And liquidity reserve ratio, liquidity in the sense on the deposits, any of the deposits made with the banker by the public to the bankers, out of the total deposits some portion of the funds has to be compulsorily maintained with the Reserve Bank of India to provide the insurance facilities, safe facilities to the deposit holder. Suppose if I keep as an individual with any of the State Bank of India around 1 lakh rupees. So it is mentioned that out of 1 lakh rupees, 5% has to be kept with the Reserve Bank of India. So when 5% is kept, so automatically 1 lakh rupees, 5% of that, that is the there's 5,000 rupees automatically goes to uh, uh, the Reserve Bank of India. So the available fund for giving the loans and advances with the bank for somebody else will be not 1 lakh rupees, it is 95,000. So automatically the ability to provide the credit is not 1 lakh, because 1 lakh what I kept will not be given as a loan to other person as a 1 lakh. It will reduce because some portion of the money is kept as a liquidity ratio with the Reserve Bank of India. In terms of any liquidity that has to be happen, if the government is the mm, banker is not having the funds to pay out the money, that liquidity ratio is released and the interest of the investor is protected. So that is how some portion of the funds, and these rates, particularly as liquidity rate, is increasing depending on the financial activities of the bank. If there is a more flexibility given to the bankers to issue particularly as advances and all that, the liquidity ratio is reduced. On the other hand, if there is a more stringent policy as to the increase, liquidity ratio will be increased. It will be increased to 30%, 40%, like that. Automatically, the bankers will lose the ability to give more loans and loans. So it is indirectly credit is being controlled. Statutory reserve ratio, every banker after the announcement of the profit has to keep certain percentage as a 10%, 15% of the profit compulsory with the Reserve Bank of India. And Reserve Bank of India maintains the deposits of these investments and supports the bank whenever they are under loss and all that. So this is how reserve ratio are also used as the tools of controlling the credit flow. The second point is a qualitative method. The qualitative method includes four marginal margin requirements, credit rationing, regulation of consumer credit, and moral suasion. So margin requirements are any bank, any what you call as a person who wants to take the loan. So there will be a risk with the banker. Suppose if the property which is kept with the bank is of 1 lakh rupees, right? The banker will not give 1 lakh rupees as a loan. There is a certain portion of the margin that is being kept. For example, for 1 lakh property, only 60% is given as the loan, 40% is the margin. What is that margin talks about? In case if uh, the uh, mm, customer fails to pay the money, right, the property has to be sold out and the reimbursement has to be made. There is a cost with the banks. So in order to meet those costs and interest laggings, so the margin is being kept. Therefore, the margin rate is fixed by the Reserve Bank of India, not only by the bankers which are issuing the credits to the people, but also Reserve Bank of India gives the guidelines 30%, 40%, like that. This margin money may be increased if the loan provision money has to be reduced, and the margin will be there is a reduced if the more money has to be. Margin will be increased if the less money has to be given, like that. On gold loans, for example, now the gold value is very volatile in the market. It was just 25,000 earlier, and now it has reached to 50,000. Now, how much is the money to be given on the golds for a per tola for 10 grams? If at all any customer comes for the depositing of the loan, so then volatility ratio will be high, and most of the people will take the advantage of this, and many people will come forward for depositing the low that for keeping the uh, gold with the bank because they bought it 10 years back where the loan the uh, value of the gold was less. They feel that instead of selling, better to get more loan. Now, in such cases, the margin money will be fixed by the government, taking into the Reserve Bank taking into the volatility, and directions are given to the this. This is not compulsory because even banks are also involved in deciding the margin money because they are involved at the risk at the last point. But guidelines are given by the Reserve Bank of India relating to this. If the guidelines are followed, the banks will be under a safe mode. If they go beyond that and issues, risk will be more with the individual banks. Therefore, it is the qualitative method. It is not a compulsory, but margin requirements are guidelines given by the Reserve Bank of India for maintaining the well activities of the credit controls. Then credit rationing. What is a credit rationing? Rationing in the sense the limits that are to be given for the various activities. Suppose if an industrial development has to happen, credit rationing in case of providing the credit to the people of industrial nature or entrepreneurs, the rationing will be made high if the growth has to happen. Rationing in the sense the percentage of loan given to the employees, the entrepreneurs will be more. This is a rationing like you may be knowing that rationing per family 5 kg of rice is given by the government in the form of Garibi Hatao kind these things stores. So this rationing will be increased if the people health is less, and this is reduced if the supply of the food has to be controlled. So like that, credit rationing is provided by the Reserve Bank of India. In this case, it gives the guidelines to the bankers relating to the margin, relating to the credit rationing. So when you are providing the loans, how much of the loan has to be provided to the entrepreneurs? How much of the loan to be provided to the what you call as housing builders, how much of the money has to be provided to the non-business persons and all that. So that portion rationing is decided. Regulation of third one is regulation of consumer credit. On the consumer credit, regulations are imposed. The paperwork, for example, if the loan has to be provided more easily to the development of the housing and all that, now the Reserve Bank of India may reduce the paperwork directly with the one surety you can provide. If the loan has to be restricted, the process of providing the credit will be increased. More scrutiny shall be made. So it is reducing the what you call as non-performing assets. The collection of the credit back will be effective. So this is what the regulation on the consumer credit. Last one is moral suasion. Moral suasion in the sense ನೈತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮನವೊಲಿಸುವುದು. What is that? It is guidelines are given to the public. Don't take loans for non-economic activities. It is going to create a burden for your family. Loans provision for education, if it is given, morally the education students will be motivated to take the loans and advances by reducing the paperwork, for enhancing the quality of education in the system in the country. So like that, there are various kinds of moral activities that is made with the banks. They are persuaded, banks are persuaded to implement a lot of activities. It is not compulsory, but it is indirectly morally they are supported. And the banks which are doing highest achievement in the form of education loans are identified, and they are provided a appreciation letter by the Reserve Bank of India. The banks which are supporting more of the development of the implementation of the central banks schemes like more housing development and all that, any bank involves more and provides more, such kind of people will be morally boosted up by providing certain kinds of recognitions and all that. This is what we call as a moral suasion. So these are the various acts of controlling the credit. So here I end my lecture. I hope I had discussed the various things which are essential. So we have seen right from the beginning the banking meaning, Indian banking system, Reserve Bank of India, functions of Reserve Bank of India, and credit control systems. In the examination, most of the questions will be asked on this. Uh, Discuss the banking system of the country. What is a bank? Discuss the banking system. When you are discussing about a banking system, please discuss about the various types of the banks. That is scheduled bank, non-scheduled bank. In scheduled bank, there are certain kinds of that whatever I have discussed in the previous class. Please go through the books also if the discussion is not sufficient, and understand that. And Reserve Bank of India, what is the discuss the history of Reserve Bank of India or functions of Reserve Bank of India or credit control system, like that questions may arise in the examination. So I thank you for your patience in listening. We will see the further aspects in the next classes. Okay, thank you.